Hi there everyone, and welcome to this practice, which is designed to help you calm and relax after a stressful day. We're going to be working a little bit to bring some of the energy of the head down into the body. So we'll start in a restorative posture, come to seated, work our way up to standing, and then come all the way back down. We're going to be working in a slow and steady way, just focusing on, as I said, bringing that energy downward, which in the yoga tradition is known as apana energy, the downward energy, the earthing energy. So if you've been mentally active in your job today, or you're feeling a little bit tired but wired, you can't settle, perhaps you're having some problems sleeping at the moment, or you're just feeling a bit disconnected from your body, then this hopefully will help you feel much, much better and much more grounded. So for the restorative posture, we're going to start lying back. So you want a couple of bolsters. If you don't have bolsters, no problem, just use pillows. The main thing here is that you're comfortable. So we're going to have one bolster or maybe two pillows to support the spine, and then also something behind the knees. Because I'm using a bolster which is quite bulky, I'm taking a second cushion, just a thin cushion for my head, and you might also like to do the same. So we're going to start in, I call this yoga armchair. Not quite sure why, I think it just feels to me as easy as being in a lovely comfortable armchair. So we're going to start with some support under the backs of the knees, and then you can lower yourself all the way down. Now just make sure that your lower back is comfortable here. So if you have any problems in your lower back, any aches or pains or tension, this should feel nice. It shouldn't feel painful at all. So we're beginning to stretch the muscles either side of the lumbar vertebrae. The vertebrae here are beginning to lengthen through the abdomen. So we're starting to release tension in the lower back. But it is our first posture of the practice. So if you feel that this is a bit difficult for you, just put more height underneath your spine. So just more pillows, or pop yourself up with some yoga bricks and blocks, whatever you've got to hand. Ideally, we want the elbows to be able to rest on the floor. If you're feeling at all chilly, cover yourself with a blanket. And by all means, feel free to pop on an eye pillow. And this is where we will begin. Just coming softly onto your mat. Perhaps allowing the eyes to close. And just dropping into your body. Perhaps beginning just by noticing your hands. Noticing the feeling in the palms of your hands. The backs of your hands, perhaps they're touching the floor. Your thumbs and your fingers. And just notice the feeling of the air against your fingertips. Notice the texture of anything that you're touching, whether that's a blanket or carpet or anything else. And really start to allow that awareness of your hands just to travel through the rest of your body. No particular order, but just noticing different parts of your body. Perhaps your feet and legs, your torso and head. Of course, it's really natural that This can be difficult to do if you have been in your mind all day long. So be compassionate to yourself. This isn't about getting anything right. It's just about the process and the practice of yoga. And consciously working with the energy of your being, consciously directing awareness to your body. Now you might start to notice how your breath is feeling. And how you're breathing. If that's through the nose or the mouth or a bit of both. And if it's comfortable for you to do so, just begin to slow down your breath. So both the inhale and the exhale become just a little bit slower without forcing or straining your breath. It should feel easy to do this. If it feels not easy or stressful or uncomfortable, just don't do it and just watch your breath. And then if you feel ready, you can begin to explore just that gradual lengthening of the breath, which we do simply by slowing down the breath. And perhaps you can feel your body breathing. Maybe you can notice some movement in your belly or your chest. And how would it be to imagine your whole body is breathing? Your arms, your legs, your hands, your feet. Imagine your whole body is breathing. Staying here for just a few more rounds of breath. Slowly, softly breathing in and slowly and softly breathing out. Now, if you feel like you'd like to stay here for longer, you're really welcome to. Just press pause on the video and enjoy being here as long as you require. If you feel ready to come to a little bit more active movement, you can begin just to bend up the knees. Sometimes it's useful just to push the bolster out of the way with your feet. Bring both feet flat to the floor, knees bent. And then gently rolling off to the side. So just coming nice and carefully there to the side and pushing yourself all the way up to sitting. You can move your bolsters and pillows out of the way, but you might still want something to sit up on here. So I'm going to sit on my cushion. You can also sit on a cushion, you can sit on a folded blanket, you can sit on a yoga block, you can even sit on a chair at this point, whatever feels good. So we're going to sit in a cross-legged position. Let's take the right leg out in front. And as you come to sitting, just start to bring a little bit of length through to the spine. You might feel that your front body is opened a little bit from that last posture. Notice if there's any tendency to lean forward or stick the head forward, just draw everything back. Shoulders over hips, head above shoulders. Just coming into seated, feeling your buttocks on your support. Palms facing down, hands on the legs. Coming back to your breath. And let's come into a little bit of circling here. So circling forward with the torso and then circling back. So you can do this if you're on a chair, but it depends on the back of the chair. You just need a little bit of space behind you so that you can circle back. And I really want you to enjoy this movement. So not really technical as such, or at least we're not going to make it technical today. It's about just waking up your spine, waking up the rib cage so that your diaphragm muscle has room to stretch, which will help with your breath. Waking up this side body, which can get very tight and short. Again, restricting the breath. I always think, you know, when you're doing these sorts of movements, right, because you just want to sigh or yawn, just beginning to relax. When you feel ready, you can pause the circles and then take them back the other way. You can move your head a little bit as well as the shoulders. The circles can be quite big or you can keep them quite small. Easy breath, easy movement. Until you come back to center, and again find that length through to the spine. Let's bring the fingertips onto the floor either side of the hips, lift up through the breastbone. Take a breath in here, and as you breathe out, let your left ear just drop towards the left shoulder. Now don't be too aggressive, this isn't about forcing your head anyway, just letting gravity take the weight of the head just a little bit. And if you want to deepen the stretch, you can lift that right hand off the floor and just point your fingers up to the ceiling. You can just explore how that feels for you to do that. You don't really need to lift the hand that high. You can also draw this right hand backwards a little bit, and again this will deepen the stretch for the side neck. And if you're still looking to go a little bit further, bring that left hand up and over, rest it so it's just above that left ear. So your right ear. So your left finger is just above that right ear, and then it's like you're just trying to lift the skin away from the ear. So you're not forcing your head to the shoulder, you're just adding a little bit of weight. From here, even if you don't have the hand lifted, you can drop your chin towards that left shoulder. Just breathe softly. Just getting that nice stretch through the back of your neck. And then we're going to tilt the chin up towards the ceiling. And you can look towards the left here. So let your eyes go to the far left corner of the room. And just stretching more into the front and side of the neck. And then let your head softly come back to center. So you're looking ahead again. Bring your head back up to center. Release both hands to the floor. Press the fingertips lightly into the floor. Walk the hands a little bit behind you so you can lift and spread through the collarbones. As you inhale, turn the palms to face up towards the ceiling. Stretch the fingertips up. And as you exhale, turn the palms the other way and bring them all the way down towards the floor. Now interlink your hands behind your back. Take both of your wrists, your hands, over towards that right waist. Draw that right elbow back and then turn your chin to walk towards the left. Let the eyes just soften here. Keeping fighting that right shoulder to drop away from the ear. In fact, both shoulders keep dropping away from the ear. Focus your gaze on one point, but really soften the eyes so you're not staring or glaring at that point. More just observing. Breathe. And then on your next inhale, come back through to center. Bring the hands behind the back. Release the hands. Let's change the cross of the legs. Bring the hands palms facing down towards the knees. And we'll come into some seated cat-cow movements here. So as you inhale, feel that you're moving your chest forward as if you're looking to get more space from belly button to breastbone. So there's a little arch through your lumbar spine and the upper spine. And then as you exhale, you're reversing the movement. And make sure you draw your belly button towards your spine. So you're engaging through the abdominal muscles. Let your chin drop towards your chest and round through the upper back. And then just repeating in time with your breath, inhaling to come forward, slide the shoulder blades down the back, lift the gaze. And then as you exhale, rounding your spine, draw the navel towards the back body. And just take a few more of these movements. So as you can probably tell, and as I've already mentioned, I'm pregnant during the making of these videos, and these movements are safe to do when you're pregnant. But if anyone else out there is pregnant doing these movements, just be careful that you're not overemphasizing this arching movement. So really just feel that you're opening through that upper body rather than going too deep and arching your lower back. That's just for those of you that might be pregnant. Or if your lower back tends to get sore, then it might be just more beneficial to work with that opening through the upper back. You can enjoy a couple more of these. Just feel into your spine. Notice where moves well, where moves less well. And then find yourself all the way back to center. Once again, bring the fingertips to the floor. Walk the fingertips a little bit behind you. Sit up tall, length through the spine. Take the breath in. And then as you breathe out, let your right ear drop towards the right shoulder. So we're now stretching through the left side of the neck. This side might feel quite different, so just be prepared for that. Again, you can make this a little bit deeper by lightly lifting the left hand from the floor, point the fingertips up to the ceiling, move that hand back. If you want to go further still, bring that right hand up and over so the right middle finger is just above the right ear. And again, that's that sense of lifting, as if you were lifting the skin from the scalp away from the ear, lengthening through that left neck. Right shoulder stays soft. Breathe. And then whether you've lifted the right hand or not, you can let your right chin drop towards your chest. So you're just moving slightly towards that right shoulder. And then you can tilt the chin up to the ceiling a little bit. And then move your gaze as if you're trying to look to the far right corner of the room that you're in. Or maybe even beyond the room. Breathe. And then gently bring the head back to center. Lift the head all the way up. Release both hands down towards the floor. Well done. Interlink the hands behind the back. Try and have a different thumb on top, and then take your hands towards that left waist, and then just gently turn to look towards the right. Pulling the shoulders away from the ears. Choose a point to focus on, but soften through the eyes. Gently breathe. And then inhale, let your gaze come back to center. Release the hands. Let's inhale, palms face up, reach up towards the ceiling, gaze towards the thumbs. Exhale, palms face down, press the air down towards your mat. And then make your way over onto your hands and knees. Take any extra support you need here, such as padding underneath the knees in the form of a blanket. We'll take the wrists just ever so slightly wider than the shoulders. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Lightly lift your belly button towards your spine. And then as you inhale, feel that you're lengthening through your spine. So we'll come back to cat-cow movements in the more classical all-fours position here. As you exhale, you're going to round the spine, let the tailbone move between the legs. Round through the spine. Draw the navel in, head heavy. And then as you inhale, you can relax your belly just a little bit as you lengthen through the abdomen. So feel that you're stretching the skin across the belly here as you inhale. And then as you exhale, you're stretching the skin across the back body on the exhale. And just move in your own time. Waking up all of those vertebrae, waking up the sleepy spine, bringing the awareness and the breath into the back of your body. And then we're going to come back to that neutral spine, that flat back spine, and come into the more circling action here. So maybe finding a little bit more freedom in this movement, circling your shoulders, circling your hips. Just freeing up your body. So again, not being too rigid or controlling, doing what feels good. And then as you start to come back to that starting position in the flat back, tuck your toes under, sink your bottom back towards your heels. Now just check that your little toes have also curled under. Sometimes they need a helping hand. And then reach your arms forwards. A little bit like a active child's pose, but with the toes curled under and arms active. So take your hands at least as wide as your shoulders, if not wider. You can come up onto your fingertips here if you like. Walk the hands forward. Press the buttocks back. Breathe. So exploring getting more length through the spine. Lower, middle and upper back spine. Softening through the chest. Relaxing the belly towards the legs. You can take your knees wider apart if you need to. And then carefully walk those hands a little bit closer to the knees. And slowly we're coming into a forward bend. So you're not going to stand all the way up. You're going to press your hands into the floor and then push yourself up. So make sure your head stays low. Take your feet about hip width apart. Toes point forward. And then sink forward into your standing forward fold. You're very welcome to keep bending the knees. In fact, I do recommend that for any lower back issues. And your hands can be still contacting the floor, or you can hold onto your elbows with each hand, whatever you prefer. Your gaze is
in between the legs. Head is heavy. Give your head a gentle shake, yes and no. And then pressing firmly into your feet. Slowly come up towards standing. Don't come all the way up to standing yet. So come slowly. So your hands are hovering somewhere around the kneecaps. And then take a gentle twist to the right. Make sure your knees don't twist. So keep the knees facing forward. Watch out for that left knee. It might want to turn in. Don't let that happen. Come back to center. Twist towards the left leg. So turning from the waist, pelvis stays facing forward. Come back through to center. Keep pressing firmly into the feet as you slowly come up to stand. Head is the last to lift. And let's take an inhale to extend the arms up. And exhale to bring the arms back down. From here, we're going to stand. I'm just going to step back a little bit so hopefully you can see me a little bit more clearly. We're going to stand, taking the right leg over the left. So this is already going to start to work on our balance. We tend to think of balance in yoga as being on one leg, but it's not the case. This position is going to really start to work and wake up all those muscles of your feet. So standing in this position, let's inhale, take the arms up once more. And then take hold of the right hand with the left. And as you exhale, stretch towards the left. So keep your gaze focused on one point if you're feeling a bit wobbly. Notice if your head is jutting forward. Try and keep your ears more or less in line with your upper arms. Breathe. If you're really wobbly today, just make sure you keep pressing into both big toes. Use your inhale to come back to center. Change the grip of the hands. And as you exhale, we're going to take that stretch the other way. So there's a sense of really lifting up through both hips, extending through the left waist and rib cage, armpits. Use the inhale to come back to center. And as you exhale, palms face down, pressing the air away from you. We're going to uncross the legs now and stand so that we're balancing on this left leg, lifting up that right leg and just taking hold of the foot. We're drawing the knees towards one another. And if possible, to go a little bit deeper, bring that right knee back in line with the left knee. Always feel free to just rest your free hand against a wall for extra support. We get a stretch through the quadricep muscle here. And then from here, carefully let go of that right foot and just take a short step back. Make sure your feet are about hip width apart. Hands on the hips, squeeze the elbows behind the back. Take a breath in, lift through the breastbone. And as you exhale, folding forward. As you fold forward, draw the left hip back, right hip forward. So your belly button moves in the direction of that front leg. Now, if you've got any knee discomfort, put a soft bend in that front knee. Keep your elbows pointing to the ceiling. Shoulders pulling back down from the ears. Leveling out through the back of the pelvis. So left hip draws back, right hip draws forward. Take your time. No rush. Keep some weight coming down through that back leg, that back foot. And then use your inhale, pressing into that back foot, come all the way up to standing. Step forward so your feet are hip width apart. Inhale, lift through your breastbone, and exhale, folding forward. Just as we did before, feel free to put that soft bend in the knees. This time you might keep your hands on your hips so your elbows point to the ceiling. If this is not comfortable for you, just dangle the arms in front, hold the elbows with each hand. See if you can allow your upper body to be really heavy, so your legs are strong and stable, so we're waking up the legs, having to use the legs a bit to draw the energy down. That apana vayu, apana kosha, that sense of really earthing ourselves. And then deepen that bend in the knee. You can let your arms just dangle now. Once again, we're slowly coming halfway up. So press your feet into the floor. Come up so your hands are maybe a little bit higher than your knees this time. And take that gentle stretch, twist to the right. Keep that left hip back, keep the left knee pointing forwards. Coming back to center, going the other way. Back to center. Inhale to come all the way up. Head is the last to lift. Exhaling here. Inhale, bring both arms up. Palms meet. Exhale, press the air away from you. Let's take that left foot over the right foot now. So the little toe edges of the feet are touching. Inhale, bring both arms up. Take the right hand with the left and exhale, stretch over towards the left. Again, focus your gaze to help your balance. Press into the big toes of both feet. Feel the heels contacting with the floor. Squeezing the thighs slightly together. Breathing. Come back through to center, change the grip of the hand, and as you exhale, go the other way. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, take the hands down either side. Release through the legs. And then we're going to be lifting up that left leg and just catching hold of the ankles. So again, as I said before, feel free to use the support of the wall. You can deepen a stretch by drawing the knees towards one another. You can work more with the balance by keeping your right hand onto your hip. Again, let the gaze focus. It's really normal to be a bit wobbly here, but just don't worry about it. If you find you fall out of the balance, put your left foot on the floor, it's no problem. Keep lifting through the spine, through the abdomen. And then carefully let go of that foot. Take that short step back. Make sure your feet are a bit hip width apart, if not slightly wider. Again, hands on the hips, squeeze the elbows behind the back. Take a breath in. Exhale, folding forward, that soft bend in that front leg, if that protects your knee. Back of the neck staying long. So generally both legs are straight unless we've put that soft bend intentionally into that front leg. We're then drawing that right hip back. That left hip will come forward slightly. Back of the pelvis should feel nice and level here. There's a sense of your breastbone lifting forward. So it's not about how low you can go. You're still keeping that length through your front body. Squeezing the elbows towards the ceiling and pulling your shoulder blades away from the ears. Back of the neck is long. Breathe, focus the gaze, but soften your eyes. Feeling the leg muscles working, waking up. Getting the blood, the prana, the chi, the energy, the life force down into those feet. Pressing firmly into that back heel as you deepen that bend in the front leg. And inhale to come up to standing. Step both feet forward now so the feet are parallel but hip width apart. Let's inhale, bring the arms up overhead. Exhale, press the air away from you as you come back into a standing forward fold, bending the legs as needed. Just relax your head, let everything be heavy. Arms can dangle, or again you can hold each elbow. Gently shaking the head yes and no can be a good way just to relax the back of the neck. And then you can bend your knees as deeply as you need to get the hands onto the floor and come either into a downward dog, or if you prefer puppy dog's pose. So downward dog, feet are at least hip distance apart, if not a bit wider. We're lengthening through the spine, which might require that bend in the knees. Elbows are straight, armpits are long, gaze is in between the legs, breathing here. Puppy dog pose is very similar, but we just have the knees on the floor with the hips above the knees. So same action through the hands, pressing lightly into the fingertips. Whatever one suits you best. And then when you're ready, we're going to make our way into child's pose. So knees can be together or wider apart here, wherever's most comfortable for your belly and your spine. Folding yourself forward, resting the forehead to the floor. Arms can be out in front or down by the feet. Letting everything just soften and relax. This is one of those postures that you can stay here for longer, relax a little bit more deeply if you wish. If you're happy to continue through the sequence and push yourself up to seated. And we're going to come and sit now so that the right leg is in a right angle in front of us. Now it's often really helpful here to have something to sit on because you want to feel fairly even across both buttocks so that both buttocks and sit bones, ischium bones in your bum are supported. We tend to kind of lean heavily to one side in this position. So do make sure you sit up on some height if required. If you have discomfort in this left knee, just try sitting up on more height and see if that supports you. If you really struggle with this leg position, then you can sit cross-legged with the right leg in front, but the posture will just feel a bit different. But of course, that's fine. If this doesn't hurt your knees, and this does, stay in cross-legged. So from here, we've got the right foot just pressing lightly into the inside of that left thigh. We're going to find some length through the spine as we take a breath in. And then as you breathe out, take a gentle twist towards the right, but start the movement in your left buttock. So squeeze your left buttock. The right fingertips can be on the floor behind you as you twist. And then exhale, come back to seated. Let that left buttock come down. So connect with the left buttock. Inhale, squeeze that left buttock. Let that nice strong gluteal muscle take you into the twist. And then exhale, come back out. So we're going to just continue like this. Inhaling, squeeze that left buttock. Rotating the spine, turning towards that right shoulder as much as you like. And then exhale, come all the way down. So don't rush, don't be tempted to speed up. And the movement really should be starting and ending in that left buttock. So don't just kind of pull yourself into a twist. Squeeze that left buttock and notice that that squeeze lifts you up. And so this left buttock now lifts, and this is what helps you to twist. If it feels a bit difficult, or you're not sure if you're using the right muscles, just practice with it. This is such a good way to strengthen through the glutes, protect your sacroiliac joints. And you can do this with your eyes opened or closed. And we'll perhaps just take 2 more. So just go in your own time and your own breath. I've suggested using your inhale to come into the twist and your exhale to come out of the twist. But if you feel more comfortable breathing the other way around, that's fine. It just changes the energy of the posture. There's no right or wrong way to breathe particularly. It just will change the way you feel. So just go with what you intuitively feel is right. And then to come out of this posture, you can either just lift the legs out, or I quite like to come onto hands and knees and then switch sides. Again, you just want to check that your seat is comfortable. Check that this right knee particularly is comfortable. Some of you might just be changing the cross of the leg, so the left leg is now in front. Find that length through the spine. Connect with this right glute, the right buttock. And then when you're ready, we'll take that breath in, squeezing through the buttock, feeling the buttock lift, feeling the abdomen turn, so those left fingertips on the floor just behind you. And then exhaling to come out. Make sure you really allow that buttock to come all the way down to the floor. So don't rush. Just slow the breath, slow the movement. Squeeze the buttock. That's the first thing that you do. Then the buttock will just automatically start to lift. And then that lift allows you to start to rotate your spine, perhaps turning your chin towards that back shoulder, just as much or as little as you like. Again, eyes can be closed or just very softly open. So as well as strengthening the gluteal muscles here, we're really working with that sacral chakra, that second chakra, and the root chakra, really both deeply connected to the pelvis. The root chakra is what helps us to stabilize, feel grounded and safe. So we generally engage with that through working with the legs. But of course, anything seated like this can also be really effective. Anything that helps us engage with these lower parts of the spine. And then coming into the pelvis, the sacrum and the hips. Coming into that second chakra. And just allowing a little bit more flexibility. Not just in the body, of course, but also in that mind. Our ability just to adapt and change. Go with the flow a little. Maybe just taking 2 more. And then once you finish those 2, you find yourself back at seated, both hands resting on the legs. Come out of this posture in the way that feels easiest for you. Come back onto the hands and knees. We're tucking the toes under once again, and we're going to sink our bum back towards our heels, just as we did before. Now you can repeat what we did before, which was elongating through the arms, elongating through the arms, sorry. Thought that didn't sound right. And then stretching the arms forward. This is also a really lovely way to stretch your spine and your lower back. So this might be most comfortable for you. Or you can bring the hands a little bit closer in towards you. So you're just waking up through the soles of the feet. You can also come all the way up for a more intense foot stretch. And this can feel really intense if you're not used to it, so don't feel you have to stay here for long. You can take the weight off the feet, of course, by just bringing the hands back forward again. And then whatever position you're in, I'm going to invite you just to come to sit however's comfortable for you. So that could be kneeling. You might kneel. It's quite nice actually if you've got a bolster just to kneel onto the end of the bolster. You can sit cross-legged. You can come back to your chair. We're just going to be here for a few minutes just to come gently back towards the breath. So get comfortable. Soften your eyes. Palms facing down. And come back to slowing down your breath. Slowly breathing in and slowly breathing out. And just try and even out your breath. So your inhale and exhale are more or less the same length. Some people find it helpful to count the breath. So you might inhale for the count of 4 and exhale for the count of 4. Some people find that a distraction and prefer just to feel the breath. So I leave that up to you, what you prefer. We're just coming to a steady, even breath, known as samafriti. The evening out of the breath, the evening out of the fluctuation. So just working with that idea of the breath and the mind being connected. If you can calm and balance the breath, perhaps you can do the same to your mind. Every time your mind wanders off, which is what the mind does, no big deal, but just bring it back. Now, if it feels comfortable for you, you can stay just as you are, but just make the exhale longer than your inhale. So if you are counting your breath, you might inhale for 4 and exhale for 6 or possibly 8. Make sure you're not gasping for the breath. Don't overdo it. And if you're just feeling the breath, just see if you can lengthen that exhale. To be curious, not critical. If it starts to feel that it's stressing you out, just let it go and just sit or come to Shavasana.
We call yoga a practice, not a perfect. So remember that. We're just here to practice. If you're really enjoying the breath work, of course, just pause the video, do it as long as you like. Otherwise, just coming towards the end of the practice now, letting go of the breath when you're ready. Try and stay still, still in your body, still with your mind. And then softly and gently make your way into Shavasana. I will stay seated for this stage, but I invite you to come and just lie however is comfortable for you. So that might be flat on your back, perhaps again with a bolster under the knees, a cushion under the head, putting on any extra layers of clothing, any eye pillows or blankets that you require. And just taking your time to come down towards the earth, down towards your mat. Eye pillows are really wonderful to help calm and quiet the mind. So if you do struggle with a busy mind, of course so many of us do, then I do recommend you invest in an eye pillow. They're not expensive, you can even make them yourself. And they're a really wonderful resource to have. If you don't have one to hand right now, you can just put something over your eyes, like a folded scarf would also be fine. So as you're lying down towards the floor, you could just tuck one shoulder then the other away from the ears, relaxing through the arms, relaxing through your legs. Just inviting that sense of heaviness and release to come through your body. Allowing yourself to sink more deeply towards the mat, as if the front of your body was sinking towards the back of your body, as if you were allowing your tongue to be heavy, and eyes to be soft. Imagining that your arms are magically lengthening and your legs are magically lengthening. And allowing yourself now just to enjoy these few moments of rest and relaxation. And so if you'd like to stay lying and resting for longer, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, you can start to just wiggle your fingers and your toes, circle your ankles, your wrists. Take any other movements, maybe a stretch, sigh, a yawn, whatever feels good. You might come and rest onto one side. Be gentle with your eyes. If your eye pillow falls off, just softly let the eyes get used to the light. And then you can begin to push yourself up to sit when you're ready. Come to sit however is comfortable. And we'll bring the hands, palms touching, just in front of the heart space. You're welcome to join me with the chant of Om. I do encourage you to give it a go. You're probably at home. There's not many people around, if anyone at all, so why not? And we start by taking a breath in. Breathing fully in and out. Keep your eyes towards the floor as you softly reopen them. And we'll end our practice there. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for this practice, everyone. Come back to it as often as you need. I hope you're feeling a little bit calmer, a little bit more relaxed in your mind and your body, and I will see you soon. Namaste.